Matthew does what Luke doesn't do, in that he says the fact that Jesus was conceived to a virgin is not an ordinary event. It was foretold by the prophets, and then completely misquotes Isaiah chapter 7, verse 14. If you had a Christian study Bible, it would tell you that you will find that verse in the book of Isaiah chapter 7, verse 14. When you look up Isaiah chapter 7, verse 14, it just isn't there. It's not only that critical word we're looking for, virgin, isn't there. The word that appears in Isaiah 7:14 is Hine ha'alma hara, behold, the young woman is pregnant. Incidentally, it is young women that have babies as opposed to old women. There's nothing unusual about this.
Okay, to make this very simple and easy to understand, the red herring, the false narrative that Tobia has set here is that he's already made someone think that if they look to Isaiah 7:14 in the Hebrew and then match it to Matthew, that Matthew misquotes. Matthew didn't misquote anything, okay? Because we know, and if you need to chat GBT it, right, and not trust me, fact check me, look it up for yourself, the New Testament writers were using the Septuagint, okay? The Greek Old Testament, because that was the lingua franca, the language of the time, and that's what they was reading. They had to have spoken Greek. If you go to John 19:20, there's a reason there's 3 languages on that cross, right? The Hebrew, the Latin, and the Greek, because it's the lingua franca of the time. They had to have spoken Greek, at least some Greek, and that's why the New Testament writers wrote it in Greek. God knew what he was doing to preserve. That was the language of the time, just like English is now, to get his word through the world, right? It's the language of Alexander the Great. Ptolemy II ordered the Old Testament that was originally in Hebrew or Aramaic, we don't have the original copies of anything, to be translated into the Greek. Now, when Matthew or Paul or any of the New Testament writers are quoting the Bible, the Old Testament, it's clear, case after case, fact check me, that they're using the Septuagint, the Greek Old Testament. Here's my point. Guess what Isaiah 7:14 says? In the Septuagint, Parthenos. That means virgin. So, Tovia Singer is setting a false narrative to make someone think automatically that Matthew don't know what he's talking about. Think about this for a minute. Do you think Tovia Singer knows the Old Testament better than the writer of Matthew did?